Carl. Teacher? Carl, you are from
Cameroon.
Cameroon. You have been attending this course for how long?
Close to about 2 months now.
2 months.
Yeah.
And how do you find it?
Now I find it it's very, very informative, because there are so many things I've come to realize that I have never known in my lifetime before.
What did you know in your life before you began this course about science?
I knew that they said that civilization began in Egypt. But from this course, I've seen that it's very weird, because how can something like civilization begin in one place? It doesn't really make sense with common sense, because if something is civilization, it might begin from different part of the world.
Yeah. So you are saying that you understand that Professor Raju says that civilization began in Egypt.
Yeah, any other one who has common sense is going to think not going to think indifferent.
So what do you think about those who said that civilization began in Greece?
Like he has been saying, and he keeps saying us, is some kind of power, because power, there is soft power, and there is also power that you can use force. So
yes,
education is like soft power.
Yes.
So it's some kind of giving credit and giving superiority to the Greek. That's why they want to make everything that is began from there.
Yes. And do you find Professor Raju's arguments convincing?
Yeah, I find his argument convincing, because we can have textual evidence, and we have non-textual evidence that anyone can see beyond reasonable doubt that is really effective and true. Things that are not written, things that you just need to use your common sense, and you see them for yourself.
Is it affecting the way you are looking at the world?
It's affecting so much. At times after the class, I feel so angry with what I've studied before.
Do you think it is wrong, or do you think it is distorted, or what is it, or just wrong facts?
It's distorted, and wrong facts have been intruded into the syllabus. So many wrong things.
But this is when you were in school, and the teachers there are also people from your own community who have taught you this.
Yeah. But the idea is that because people don't check, people don't do reference. Whatever you hear, you just propagate the same issues too.
Yeah.
But now it needs some people to really take up that initiative to check. That's why we keep having the same wrong information all the time.
So this is one course which you have attended. You feel that this made you think a little bit.
If there was a possibility for me to introduce in my country, I would do that very much.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Your name? Your name?
Abdullah.
Which country are you from?
I'm from the Gambia.
From the Gambia?
Yeah, the Gambia.
That is somewhere in West Africa.
Exactly, West Africa.
And you've been through what type of education so far?
It's basically the Western education, yeah.
Western education in Gambia?
Yeah, Western education in Gambia. Yeah.
Isn't that ironic? Why don't we have an African education in Africa?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the remnants of colonization, I think. So it's true, it's ironic. I wish it was different anyways.
Is anybody willing to change it there, or is anybody doing something to change it?
Not something that I'm aware of, but I believe I can do my bit. I mean, so I think we need to respect what we have. We had something before Europeans came, and so we just don't throw it away and take this, and it's not something that I agree with.
What about the course itself? How do you find it? I mean, do you find that what Professor Raju is saying is outrageous, or do you think it's something contrary to what you have heard, or do you think it's the right thing? What is your immediate reaction to it?
When I first heard it, I think to me it makes sense, although it's not what I've been taught, but for me, I've been thinking about these issues. So when he talked about this, it's kind of answers some of the questions that I was having about what was the rest of the world doing when, I mean, even in history books we don't have any, he didn't give credit to us, what we did. So when he talks about that, people in fact did something, but they're just, Western historians, in a way, distorted history. So it seemed to make sense to me. Okay, the answer is that Western historians did in fact distort history. So that's why we're not getting the credit that we deserve. So I agree with a lot of it, what he was saying.
Actually, we have all been brought up to believe that Western historians are scientific, they are objective, they write very well. Do you think that this is the point of view you have received after seeing this course?
No, I don't think so. I think that they are very clever at distorting history. Western historians did very clever at distorting history to put it into their advantage, like to give them the credit. Okay, we did all this. I mean, all of you are sheep. You have to follow us. That's what they're good at.
Why can't, for example, the way in which you people from the Gambia, you looked at Western historians with a very positive feeling for so many years.
Yeah.
Why is it that Western historians can't look at your history and your culture with the same positive spirit? What is preventing them from doing so?
I think you said, okay, the problem will be there. The first thing that you said wouldn't happen. We wouldn't look at them with that respect if they look at our history in a good way. Because most of the history things we have, they're given to us by them. If they did depict our history in a positive way, they know we don't have respect for them. We will have respect for our people. So I think it's like a game that you're playing on us.
When you go back to the Gambia, how do you plan to put these ideas into your community and into your college or wherever you are going to be working at?
I think first, in fact, maybe even right now, I might try to write articles to the newspapers in the Gambia. I can write articles and they get published. Also, I can share it to anyone who wants to listen. Yeah, so media is on now, so I can do as much as I can to spread this message.
Putting this in your blog?
No, even newspapers. I don't have a blog, but I plan to write articles to newspapers.
Newspapers?
Yeah, so many newspapers in Gambia. They will publish those things.
Have you published before?
Yeah, sure. No, I've never published, but I will try this time.
Yeah, if you've got a story to tell, then the newspapers will be willing to always publish it.
Or you guys willing to publish? Okay.
No, we publish. Okay. We have been publishing and writing much before you were born. So
okay.
But in your case, I'm saying that you should also try and put this on your Facebook. You got a Facebook?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook. Yeah.
In your Facebook account, you can tell people what's this type of thing that you're hearing.
Okay.
And whether what Professor Raju is saying, whether he's saying it like the way your teachers have taught you Western history, or he's teaching you a different history but with documents.
Yeah, with documents, with proof.
That's what is compelling.
Yeah, it forces you to believe it. Yeah.
Yes, because the earlier one, there's no proof.
There's no proof.
There's no proof for you.
Blind, yeah.
Yes, there's just, I'm telling you, you please believe it.
That's it. Yeah.
But in his case, he is able to shake your point of view.
Yeah, that's right.
You understand him perfectly?
Yeah, I understand him perfectly.
You read what he writes?
Yeah, I read what he writes.
Enjoy what he's, and you look forward to these classes.
Exactly, yeah. I even had a meeting, but I had to wait for the class to finish. I don't want to miss any of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What is this institution you are studying in? This place?
Al-Bukhari International University.
How did you come to hear about it?
I found this scholarship through the Ministry of Education in my country.
Your country? Which is your country?
I'm from Somaliland.
You have come from Somaliland?
Yeah.
That's quite far away.
So far. 2 days travel.
Very far. And how do you find Malaysia?
Actually, it's so different according to the climate, food, lifestyle, and so many other things.
And how do you find it in terms of what you are learning?
Yeah, education system is totally different, because in my country, when you go to university, like, you don't have some place to stay the whole day, campus, like hostel and all that stuff. Like, you go in the morning, you have some class, you go back to your home, like, afternoon. There is no big campus, and in my country, it starts from primary school until high school, the education is very strong. But from university, I mean, high education is not really that strong. So you just study university like as if you are studying high school.
And what did you learn about science in your school?
I was from a science school, and like I was a biochemistry student.
Biochemistry student?
Yeah.
That is, you finished your graduation?
Yeah.
In biochemistry?
Biochemistry.
And what is it that you learned about science? Who created it? And where it comes from?
It actually sounded me like pretty funny, because all the things that I have been taught is now said again, it wasn't really true. First, when I attended the first class, I was like, okay, so that scientist was not really right, and this was not really right. Then who is right?
Who is right
now? But the first thing that I wonder is that, like, if we say all these people were talking about something which is not really true, and they were just claiming that they are the creators of all this, and this is really fact that we can see it, why there are why there is no so many people who talk about it, like why there is not so many people who raised this issue and said, hey, all this Western education is not really true. Like, I was wondering that question.
Why is there only one Raju or two Rajus?
Yeah, I even asked him in the class, like, why there is only Professor Sika Raju is talking about this, why other people are not really raising it. It's like, when you see the slides, you feel like, oh, this is extremely obvious thing, you know, and there's no one who is raising it. I remember my school, like, there was a teacher, a social science teacher. Sometimes he asks us, hey, do you guys really think that you are free? Then we say, of course we are free. Then he asks again, so if you are free, why you wouldn't dress in a way that you like? I like this way I'm dressing. Then he says, no, this is not from your own. You just took it from someone else without any, you know. So, yes.
Yeah, so in the same manner you feel about science, that what Professor Raju said, the facts, the history that he gives you, you feel that it is totally different from what you heard in your own experience.
Yeah, it's, even though all the things that normally we learn in the class now is not really related to biology or chemistry, it's mostly mathematics and physics. But in a way I feel like, for example, when he was talking about the simple pendulum, we only know the equation and we apply that. But in logical sense, when you see that, you cannot simply follow the equation, because, you know, it's all depends on the amplitude. So yeah, it sounded me.
So do you think now that the education that you've been through is education which has been purely people telling you things without really any evidence?
Yeah, yes, because even the professor asked us, do you know where this come from? Because I said, even the one who taught me didn't know where it come from, so how would I know it? It's like I have been taught and I took it as it is.
Yeah, but there's so many, you've learned now in school for probably 8 to 10 years or maybe 12 years, and you're willing to give that all up for after hearing one lecture of or one course of Professor Raju?
Not really giving up, but just analyzing the exact root of it. Like, the knowledge is the knowledge, and maybe most of it's true, but the problem is that sometimes you don't realize that there is a problem with the origin of it. Like, they claim that they are the ones who create this, but they are not really the one who create this.
That
right?
You are convinced now?
Yeah, somehow, but still I'm the process of.
But I mean, you are curious enough to at least know a little bit more about it?
Yeah, yeah, because
to dig a bit more.
Even I was telling to my friend, like, this course should have a sequence. Like, we cannot learn the whole thing within one semester, so I thought, like, there should be some kind of sequence, maybe in elective courses or something like that.
So you break down things into more detail. Otherwise, you feel that you are not able to go to the depth of the particular thing that he is talking to you about.
Yeah, because in slides, when you go through the slides that the professor is giving us, like, each slide you see, yeah, that's this is this, you can refer to that paper or you can refer to this book. Then another slide, there is another paper and another book. Like, you need time to go through all that stuff. So it's something that you cannot finish it within one day or within one semester or within, you know.
Yeah.
It needs time. Yeah.
It may require one lifetime. But you are happy with the courses. Do you? What is your feeling when you contrast them with the other courses in the university?
Okay, actually, personally, I mean, without any exaggeration, I enjoy this class more than any other classes, because in other classes we just go and we do all that calculation. Is the whole day we calculate something, then we get out. There is no discussion, there is no arguments, there is nothing else. But in this class, sometimes you stand up and you say something to Prof. Raju, and the whole day he will be answering to your questions, like, you know, live class. So, yeah.
And your preference would be to have Professor Raju's class in at least as an elective for a couple of for 1 or 2 years, rather, to where you can get the whole thing. You would be at least personally convinced. Now you are not 100% convinced.
I'm not. I'm even still curious about it. Like, last time I only read the book of Is Science Origin in Western and Euclid and Thesis. But reading only these two books, it really makes you wonder, because sometimes you see that this is this, and the root is this. So you feel like, hey, I should know the root exactly. Then you need another time to find out that root. Root, I mean. So yeah, I'm still curious about it, and I'm probably hoping to see a little bit more about it.
At least you can say in conclusion that he has shaken you up a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like, yes, and you know, the problem is, I actually say the problem is because no one raised and no one noticed all this stuff. Maybe some people notice, but maybe they are too paranoid about what would happen to them, you know. Like, if I say the truth, and sometimes truth can be dangerous, right? And if someone says something is this, and maybe some other people would actually, you know,
be very upset and may want to do something drastic.
Yeah, that's why people are, maybe people are paranoid to raise it, but yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What's your name?
My name is Semudu Imran.
Imran.
Yep.
From which country are you from?
Uganda, East Africa.
From East Africa,
Yeah.
Uganda.
Yeah.
And when have you arrived in Al-Bukhari?
June 2012.
This year?
No, last year.
Last year.
Yes.
So you have been through Professor Raju's full course for 1 full year.
No,
When have you begun the course?
I began the course this trimester. It's now 6 weeks.
So how many lectures have you completed?
6 lectures.
6 lectures.
Yeah.
And how do you find the course compared to how do you find the course as a whole? I mean, do you find it interesting, or do you find it like any other course, or does it say anything to you? What is your reaction to it?
Well, my take is it's a complete different reaction, and I think it's an uninteresting subject, and we got a lot to understand from the subject.
You call it uninteresting subject?
Yeah.
Why uninteresting?
Because there is a lot we get to know.
So it's an interesting subject,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
uninteresting. It's an interesting subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically what you are saying is that it's a very interesting subject.
Exactly.
And you are getting to hear a lot of things which you never knew before.
Yeah.
What did you know before about science?
I knew a lot, especially physics, biology, and chemistry.
And what did you know about science? I mean, what did people tell you about science? Did people in Africa create science? Did people in Greece create science? Did people in India create science? What did people tell you?
According to the books, I know that nobody, according to what I learned, nobody told me that this one discovered science. But I know some of the icons of science, like Newton, Galileo Galilei, among others.
But these are all Westerners.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you identify science as, in your experience and from your teachers, as only identified with Western persons?
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you identify any Africans with science? I mean, with the history of science?
Not exactly, not anyone.
Did you identify any Indians with the history of science?
I heard that there are some intelligent Indians, but they are not in the history. I didn't know them.
In the history, at least zero.
Zero.
What about China? Did you think that anybody in China was involved with the origins of science?
No, no one.
With the origins of mathematics?
No one.
Did anybody tell you that people in India created the system of arithmetic, algebra, trigonometry, calculus?
I first learned it from here.
From here?
Yeah.
Otherwise, your entire experience was that it was created by Westerners.
Exactly, Western.
Then what would you feel about this today when you have gone through this course?
I feel excited, and I think I've learned a lot. There are many things, I don't know their proof, but I think by the time I'll get to know if they are really true, but at least I'm getting the other side of science.
Does it change your perception of things as a person from Africa?
Yeah, it does change.
You feel that you have contributed something towards the history of science?
Exactly.
Because he is able to describe things that originated in Africa, particularly from Alexandria,
Egypt,
and all these places. So obviously you feel now that you are part of the history of science. Do you feel that?
I feel it.
Before that you felt zero.
Exactly. I didn't know that we can make it at least when I heard that maybe something came from Alexandria, Egypt, I knew that at least we are part of the history of science. Not as before that anybody could say that it's all about West.
How is that your own teachers in college and in the school did not have any other view to give you when they were teaching you in school and college?
Back home, I think they only use Western books, and they are taught according to what the West teaches. So they don't go into details of finding out who did this and this. They just teach what is given to them according to the curriculum.
There is a big discussion in Africa on the African origins of science, the African contributions to science, African philosophy, African medicine, so many things that Africans have given to human history. So why in that situation would Africa not contribute something to science?
Well, I do believe, I'm proud to be part of that there are some, Africa is natural. There are some things that were invaded by the West, and that is in a form of, they come, they find that Africans, there are some bright Africans who did something, but it's still in its primary stages. For them, they come and make it to a tertiary stages. Yeah, and after making it to the tertiary stages, they own it. They take it from Africans, then they duplicate it to be theirs. Yeah.
So when you go back to Uganda, how will you share this information that you have had at this university?
Before I share the knowledge, I'll make sure I do more reading so that I pass on knowledge that I really understand. Yeah.
And what Professor Raju has said has really put certain doubts in your mind.
Yeah, it has touched me, and I will feel like I need to dig deep into the part of philosophy and find out. Maybe there is more that is yet to be discovered and more what Africa has done than what actually he knows.
Yes, and that Professor Raju cannot do, only you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Your name?
Nur Jamal.
Nur Jamal.
Yeah.
That is from which country?
Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan. That
yes.
is from the African, Russian region.
Yeah.
One of the earlier
Central Asia.
Central Asia regions.
Yeah.
When have you come to Albuquerque?
It's been 2.5 years.
So you're one of the longer students.
Yeah, I'm from the first batch students.
And that means you have been through Professor Raju's course last year also?
Last trimester. Yeah.
Last trimester?
Yeah.
And you're not attending this year? You have finished the course?
Yeah, we've already finished the course.
Finished the course.
Yeah.
What was the impact that the course has had on your mind?
Oh, that was a totally new subject for me. Actually, what I was expecting was something different.
What were you expecting?
I was expecting some like history as we've learned before,
yes.
Like something about philosophy, about those philosophers whom we have already studied.
Socrates and Plato
yes,
and Aristotle. Yes.
Yes, I was expecting them, but it turned out to be totally different. I've seen the new side, the purpose of this course was just freeing our minds, telling us that the story that we have been told is maybe not totally true. There might be other sides of history also that has not been told to us. So there was something new for me and something that was difficult to accept because it was contradicting to my knowledge that I used to have before. So
but wasn't it the responsibility of your own teachers and your own college back home to also give you two sides to any question, or did they also give you only one side? Now Professor Raju is giving you an opportunity to see another side, but shouldn't this happen in school?
I think it should have happened, but I think that even our teachers, they have not known maybe. They have not known this side of history because it is something that is, I don't know. I think it's just the system, like it started long time ago maybe.
Yeah.
So even maybe some of our teachers, like maybe teachers of our teachers also, they don't know the another side. So they have been told this thing and they just accept it. They don't try to analyze, they don't try to differentiate, they don't try to find out what can be the real story.
It's just like people who believe that the earth was flat.
Yeah.
So everybody keeps
Yeah.
on believing that the earth is
Yeah.
flat
Yes.
for a very, very long time. And so people believe that science is associated with the Greeks, and
Yes.
nobody contributes to science
Yes.
anywhere in the world except the Greeks. And therefore the Greeks then become the Europeans, and then finally they are the people who are superior because they know everything.
Exactly.
So it's just like the flat earth people.
Yes.
Everybody believes this, and there's nobody to tell you anything
Yes,
which is the
exactly.
contrary. But tell me something. Do you think that Professor Raju has been merely talking, or does he have any facts which you think are really difficult to digest? Means they have totally upset your point of view. I mean, are there facts? Is he talking on the basis of facts and documents, or is he
Yes.
only talking like normal professors? They just talk and you got
No.
to accept what he says.
No, he's not just talking. And whenever he also gives us lectures, he says just whatever I'm talking, like just don't accept it as it is. Try to think, try to be open-minded, try to analyze things. And of course he gives facts. He doesn't refer to, like, usually, yeah, as we were taught before, we used to like the sources are books. They say like this authority said this, so we should believe this. And Professor Raju, he gives us the facts, like many things. I remember.
Will you give an example?
Yeah, I remember he said that, for example, Romans, yeah, the origin of science comes from the Greek people from the West, yeah, and then they say the first even astrology comes from also the Greece, but if we see the Roman people, yeah, Roman numerals, they didn't have zeros. So without zeros, just with the Roman numerals, doing mathematics, doing those calculations is very difficult. It's, if we take that science, astrology, it needs a big calculation. So doing it with Roman numerals, it's impossible. So I think there is the thing that zero was invented by Indians actually, and then it was that as we call the Arab numerals, yeah, they were actually invented in India and then they were transferred by Arabs to other countries. So maybe the astrology also was originated first in
Astronomy, you mean astronomy?
Astronomy and other sciences,
and other
maybe.
Yes.
In other places like India or many other places.
But certainly arithmetic as we know today with the zero was not available in Greece or Rome at all. That you are at least convinced.
Yes.
And therefore they could not do, and they had no experience of fractions. So they could not do that either.
Yes.
So now at least you should be convinced that mathematics, at least of this kind, did not originate in Greece.
Yes.
And that is enough to shake most people in terms of their beliefs about associating the origins of science with Greece.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, but that is now does this have sort of a reverse impact on the way you think about science in your own society back home? Because if for so many years you have believed that only Greece created science and you people created nothing.
Yes.
Now if it's proved that Greece really was not creating science, then where did science come from? It would have come from all sorts of people all over the world.
Yes.
So that would at least give you some incentive to go back to your own country and look at what your own people contributed in terms of science. So do you think that you would, when you go back, you would have at least some interest to find out what is the history of science in your country?
Of course, I would love to do that. Like after this course, it opened my mind. So it gave a way to learn, to do research, to question everything, to try to find the answers, not just to blindly accept what you're given. So maybe by asking questions and by us answering those questions, maybe we will find more truths about the science, about many other things in history that happened.
Do you have any criticisms about the course? I mean, the way it could be better, is there anything that can be done to improve it, and so on? The time for the course?
The time
anything?
Should be given more, I think, because like we were given only one trimester, so
yes.
I was waiting, I was hoping that we will have history and philosophy of science too,
yes.
the second part, so we can, because the thing that he taught us, and it's mostly connected with science, and maybe we don't have that good background, and for the first time it's very difficult to catch up what professor is going to tell us. And then you go back, you read back, you know new things, and then you read again and you understand more. So I think this course needs more time.
More time.
Yeah.
But in terms of the presentation, and do you understand Professor Raju when he talks, or
yes.
does he talk too fast, or?
No, he is perfect.
He's perfect. Very good.
Yeah.
That's a great A. You would give him an A or A+. As a student, you should once in a way assess your professors also.
I would give A star.
No, A star. Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Too.
Okay. Yeah.
What's your name?
My name is Musoke Sadala Shafiq.
Lash?
Musoke Sadala Shafiq.
La Shafiq.
Shafiq.
La Shafiq.
Yeah.
Which country do you come from?
I come from Uganda.
You've been here for a long time?
Not quite a long time, but it's a long time to me because it's a new society. I've been here for 7 months.
And you came directly from Uganda to Albuquerque?
No. I had a transit in Egypt.
Yes.
And a transit in Thailand.
Yes.
Then I came here, so I passed 2 countries before I reached.
But this is the first time you are staying. You are in a country outside Africa.
Yeah, sure. It's my first time.
For a long period of time.
Yeah, for a long period of time.
Do you find it very difficult to adapt?
Actually, yeah. I've found it a little bit difficult for me to adapt because of the weather. I can talk about the society, the food, but I'm trying my level best.
Yeah, but it's not unpleasant. It's only different.
Yeah, it's different, but it's not unpleasant.
Yeah. Do you like the food?
I like the food a little bit. That it's different from my culture, but
well, too much. It's enough of meat.
Meat is enough, but I mean when it comes to spicing,
then you find it.
Then I find a problem.
So you can think of us as adding some spice to your life.
Yeah, sure.
So as in the same way as Professor Raju added spice to your education.
Sure. He did a lot, and right. What I can say now, my brains are washed.
Brains are washed.
Are washed.
Oh, well, that's a very peculiar image to use. Why? What was there in your brain before?
You know, before I thought when we were studying, I didn't take an effort to know the basis, the foundation of what we are studying. For example, when I was in my primary, we used to do mathematics, science, history. By that time we called it social studies.
Yes.
And English.
Yes.
So I was asking myself, why are we studying English, not my mother language?
Yes.
They used to tell us, no, your language is not an international language. So I asked them, which criteria do you use to identify this is a national language? So some people could not answer that. And when I joined my O-level, we studied geography, history, Islam. Islam is good because it's my religion. We studied fine art. So I asked myself, because my dream I wanted to be an aircraft engineer. So I asked myself, how is history related to aircraft engineering? How is it going to help me? Okay, that fine art. How is it related to my career I want to be? So I kept on asking myself that we are studying too much. At the end of the day, I'm just going to pick 2 subjects.
Yes.
When I entered my A-level, I chose only 4 subjects, which means I left the 8 subjects.
Yes, so they were actually wasted.
Yeah, so I asked myself, why did I waste that time? Why didn't I use that time to focus on something which is going to help me in the future? So when I came here to Albuquerque International University, I was introduced to history of philosophy of science. So what the basis is to know the history of science. Before that, we used to read books. We see that Newton. What I used to know that history, science is Western in origin, because all these guys we study about the Newtons, they come from Western. So in my head, I used to know, and I grew up knowing that science originated from Western people. And whenever I could see someone from Western, say those are scientists, those are the people leading our world. Why? Because of their inventions day by day. Not knowing that they also got this knowledge from some people, of which these people cannot be identified, because people now believe that science originated from origin. That's the only knowledge I'm getting from the class, and I think my thinking has changed right now. I'm really eager to know what's going further, more and more. And I thank you.
It should have surprised everybody that the whole continent of Africa did not produce any science.
Actually,
which is amazing. How
which
could
is
it
amazing.
be possible? Because you require science to live.
Yeah, sure.
Africa is survived the longest.
Yeah, sure.
So if they survived the longest, that means they would have the most science. I mean, they would know the most about nature and about to survive in the African environment.
And one more thing I would like to say. When they are inventing some things, we can find that most of the materials, they get them from Africa.
Yes.
Which means that Africans, they have some knowledge. Why? But they cannot come up and they show them on top. Why? Because some people want to believe that Westerns dominate the world. I'm sorry to be like that. But Africans, okay, they are not recognized because I think we are just silent. So it's all that which is making me to make more research, to know the real thing, the real fact. Why is this thing like this, and what's the origin of this?
Is Professor Raju has given you back your voice?
Yeah, sure, I'm having my voice, and that's why even now when I'm speaking confidently, because I know if someone comes tomorrow on my door, I'll show him the source. I know the source where all these words come from.
Yes, now it's available to you.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
available.
have to say, oh, Raju said it.
Raju
you can
said
say
it.
that, well, here is this document to
Here's
show
the-
this, and here is the document to show that.
Here's the evidence. Yeah.
Well, as in the Western, the claim of Western science, there is really no document. I mean, as you were saying, when you are in Greece and you only have the Greek or Roman numerals, you can't do mathematics.
You cannot
with
do
that.
mathematics.
I think that has shaken people the most.
And some people have not realized that that's the problem. One thing I like to talk about Professor Raju is not a man who comes to the lecture and just talks without evidence. Each word he tells us, he compiles it with an evidence. He tells you the evidence to show that history did not originate from Western people. Science did not originate from Western people. You can check on this link. You find the evidence which shows that these people invaded this before the Western. These people did this before the Western, which is quite interesting because we human beings, we believe after seeing. So if someone proves to you something, it's better that way than someone speaking. So that's one thing I wanted to comment on him, that he uses evidence on teaching us, and that's why we are so much touched with his lectures.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is your name?
My name is Aisha Muhammad Aman.
Where are you from?
From Eritrea.
Eritrea, that is in Africa.
Yes, East Africa.
East Africa.
Yeah.
So you have been told all your life that Africans, East Africans, West Africans, South Africans have not contributed anything to science, and the only contribution has come from Greece and from Newton and from Europeans and so on. Is that true?
Not exactly. The thing is that I have been studying Islamic history most of my lifetime, since I was born
That's
in
interesting. That's interesting.
I was born in Saudi Arabia, and then I found that there is a gap between the end of the Islamic Empire and the transformation of the knowledge that comes after from the Western countries. There was a gap that we couldn't even fill it. Whatever we know that a lot of contributions to the science comes from Indians, non-Arab and also Arab, but after that, what happened to those inventions, we don't know.
We don't know.
The other thing is Egyptian ancients, they had a lot of inventions that being attributed to the Greeks and also to the Western countries. So I think the course History and Philosophy of Science enlighten us to those gaps that couldn't be filled with our education system maybe, and also to acquire knowledge more about them.
So you are not in the category of those who felt that all science came from the West, but you already had experience that knowledge came from other sources, including India and including from the Arab countries, non-Arab countries, and so on.
Yes, exactly.
And so, at least, so in what sense, in what way has this course given you a different perspective?
How to retain again the contribution of those people who already invent in the science and who also contribute to the science, since we already been learning in our schools, in our education system, that most of the things that Einstein and the others been contributing to the science, but the basic science comes from the others. What happened to those people? Why we are not including them in our courses? Why we are not even give them their own rights and give them their own acknowledgement in the science? So I guess the course is just arguing why we have to exempt those people from the education system that we are learning now.
But has Professor Raju also told you that, or discussed with you, that it is not only a question of restoring the information about the past, correct information about the past, but it's also that once you realize that you have, you yourselves have contributed to science, then you also get empowered to feel that you can do science and you don't need, you're not deficient in any way.
Yes.
And that science is not only of the Westerners, but it's also everybody can do science. Do you get that message from this class?
Yes, we got this one. This is, the course was about setting free our minds, to let us know that we shouldn't be oriented to the science, to the education system we had. We need also to invent our own also knowledge, and also we need to retain and to empower ourselves what we have as a basic knowledge, and also attribute to the others also, if there is possible way to do this.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Welcome.
What's your name?
My name is Mukhtar Madher Diaby. I'm from Mali, West Africa.
West Africa. And you've been here for how long?
Now almost going to the third year.
Third year?
Yeah.
That means you must have come here when you were 17 or 18?
Yeah, 18, something like this.
So this is, when did you do Professor Raju's course?
Last trimester.
You completed the whole course?
Yeah, the whole course.
Did you bunk any lectures?
Maybe one at this.
Maybe one. Did you feel bad about it?
Yeah, because I usually like to come to class, but I was sick that day.
Okay.
And I came and left also. So I came and left.
And you used to enjoy coming to the classes?
Yeah, I did enjoy. And
why did you enjoy?
Well, because there is some kind of, you use your mind, and that logic. That's what makes it like easy for me to be enjoying the class.
But you must have been using your mind even in school.
Yeah, but it's different when you start like analyzing what you have studied, and you will be able to differentiate what's the fact and what is not, and what's the truth and what not. So you will be able to see everything that was manipulated and changed.
So what did Professor Raju unsettle in your mind?
About what I had before.
What did you have before?
I had many of the things that many people had, and they did not know the people, for example, the inventors of all these things, of many of the devices and so on. So we might had like wrong information about the person who did it. For example, the radio and let's say the electric lamps and so on. So you might had wrong information, but by the end you find it other people did it. So when we get to know these things, it helps us next time when you hear anything, you go and look for the, what do you call it, the source of it, and know how it became.
So that's one of the good things that you learn in the course, that you don't take anything.
You don't.
I don't take anything that's given for granted, but you go behind it.
You go behind it and
check.
And check. Yeah.
What it is.
Yeah. So.
What are any few besides the problem about this electricity, any other issues that you found very interesting to follow, which were different from your experience?
Yeah, of course. For example, whether the origin of the science was Western.
Yes.
That was very interesting because the evidence, they were somehow very simple, and you just need to use your logic. For example, the Roman numerals and so on,
Yes.
for using mathematics and so on.
Yeah.
So this was very easy, and it was so interesting that he will give you, for example, the evidence, and you can apply it and see it by yourself. So you don't need much efforts to know whether it's true or not true.
Yeah, he didn't have to hit you with sticks to
Yeah,
make
he
you
did. Yeah,
understand what he was saying.
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So you just use your mind and your logic, and you will be able to.
Did you
identify.
counter check what he was saying in the library or with the documents? Did you read it up again?
Not really exactly, but I did check about something and try to know much about things, because in fact I'm not really interested in science. I'm not really interested in that, but I just suddenly found myself on that. I went to that course without any background about the course. I just went there and I tried, and I found it useful for me. Maybe for my next steps, I'm planning to do some like research and so on, and try to do better on this. Yeah.
So the course has been useful for you
It has been, yeah,
in a major way or in a minor way?
maybe major way. It was really useful for me in everything, not also in science, many other things.
Many
other things. The most important here is to use your logic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So it was not bad at all.
It wasn't bad at all.
Very easy.
Very easy, yeah.
You're all natural stars, baby. What's your name?
My name is Yasin Yusuf
Yusuf, which country are you from?
from Somaliland.
So you're from Somali. That's quite far from
From here, yeah, really.
here.
Yeah.
How do you like the food here?
The food here is, it's quite different from what we have used to before, but I have get used to it for about 3 months.
But now you are okay with it?
Now I'm okay with it, yeah.
There's too much of rice?
Too much
Oh,
rice.
and
Even
what else?
even we are that Asian back in our room.
So you also eat a lot of
Yeah.
rice? So what was the problem? Spices?
The problem here is the spices.
Spices.
Yeah.
It's too hot.
Yeah. But now
Now
even
your stomach is okay.
Yeah. Even the people understood us, so they reduced the spices.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure, they
yeah.
reduce the spices.
Yeah.
But you should increase the spices because spices are good for your health. You
But,
see.
yeah.
You can see us, we eat spices every day.
But I have,
Your
some.
tender stomach.
Yeah.
Tender stomach. But you
Yeah.
have to get it resistant.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about the food. What about the education? Is that also equally bad or spicy? Or
No, education is really quite very different from our system, because Malaysia is a very developed country, so the same goes to the education system. So for me, I feel here quite very privileged to be in Malaysia, especially in Al-Bukhari, which also is another university which also is a special privilege. Because it's different from other universities. So we are having different professors who are teaching you humanity, everything. So
what has Professor Raju taught you?
Raju is really one of the most outstanding lecturers I've ever met. Yeah, especially in here, because teachers can give you exercise, can give you small examples to calculate, but he lets your mind think the whole night. So in the first day I have attended his lecture, he said a statement, but I was very amazed about that statement. He said your mind is captured, thus you need to be free. Then I was wondering how my mind is captured, but later when I have observed what I've studied, when I have observed how I'm living, what I've observed what I like, when I have observed how the education system in my country is, copying or is a prototype of that British, then I asked myself why you are human being and they are human being, why you don't have your own system. So I think Raju is a professor that I will not forget. Yeah, for the short time I've stayed with him.
And in relation to the subject, what have you learned?
In the subject, really,
Philosophy of, I mean, history of science.
philosophy and history of science is really very important subject.
Somali is not mentioned in the history of science, Somaliland.
It's not mentioned, but
Not mentioned.
but it applies to them. Yeah, yeah.
Now you are convinced that they are also capable of science.
Of course, it's not only science, but also this course does not mean to deny all the contribution of the West.
Yes.
But it is to think critically so that you can filter what
Yeah.
kind of ideas are suitable and what kind of ideas are affected with ideologies that have a special interest. So it's being an open-minded, really, about being open-minded about what you are going to accept. Yeah, not flowing blindly with any ideas you are given, but you have to analyze. So first I thought that life can only be about history, but when I have attended this course, I have seen that even science and maths can sometimes be religiously biased. So, for example, when we see that in some even example that I remember is that a few days ago I've read an article. Someone was arguing that I can prove that Prophet of the Islam is false using syllogism. So when
Syllogism.
yeah, syllogism.
Yeah.
So when you read his article, I was laughing because there's no coherency in the way he was putting his argument like this. So I think I've benefited too much from him. Yeah,
Thank
from
you.
Sikh Raju.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to say about it? Anything else that you can think of? I mean, was the course?
Of
Was the course complete? Did it require more time?
Yeah.
Was he very clear in what he was saying? Did you have any difficulty in terms of the language? Is there any other critical
No,
thing? Any critical thing that you want to say? Because that's never a problem. You will be very welcome.
His communication is really quite very effective.
Very effective.
But the only thing I can mention is that the course is somehow bigger and very concentrated, so the time provided is not enough.
Not enough.
So I think it's suitable maybe to provide for 2 semesters, 3 semesters like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before you get everything.
Yeah.
Yes. But then, as you said, you were not that much interested in this area before, in the science. Would you go through a three
Of course.
three trimesters on science?
Of course.
Provided is Professor Raju.
Only by Professor Raju. Because I don't know other professors. But if other professors came with the same style and technique with him,
no problem.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
What's your name?
My name is Erkayem.
Erkayem.
Yes.
And which country are you from?
I'm from Kyrgyzstan, Central Asia.
Turkestan or
Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah.
Okay, and since how long have you been here at Al-Bukhari?
I have been here for 1 year and a half.
And before you came here, did you know English?
Yeah, I used to speak, but our English is not that much improved, but I had basic.
Yeah, but did you improve it now here?
Yes, I did.
Because here you only speak English.
Yeah, I
What
speak
language
English.
do you speak in Kyrgyzstan?
I speak my own language. I speak Kyrgyz language, I speak Russian, Turkish, and this, English.
Oh, also Turkish?
Yes.
So, but Turkish is how do you learn Turkish?
Actually,
as a part of school?
Yeah, I have graduated from High Kyrgyz Turkish College. After that, I went to Turkey. I studied there for 2 years, and after that, I came back to my country, and then applied to this university, and then now I'm here.
Inshallah, you came here.
Yes.
And when you came here, what was your expectation?
My expectation, well, I was imagining something that our university will be much bigger than this, but now I see it's a tiny university. Yeah, and people are nice. Yeah, I was expecting this kind of people, like they are really open-minded. They are like to help. They are hospitable. Yeah.
And what about the coursework?
Coursework.
Whatever they are teaching here.
Yeah, we have lectures from different countries, like from Yemen, from Palestine, from India. Yeah, so I think they are really high qualified lecturers. They are good at teaching. They are good at explanation. Yeah, I'm satisfied.
And what about Professor Raju's courses?
Yeah, I have completed his course one trimester, previous trimester, and I think I have discovered something new for me. Like before, we have been taught, I guess, false history. Like they told me, till that day I believed that Gutenberg was the first person who printed the book, but to my big surprise, he didn't. Even the most surprising part, he even didn't exist. It was really surprising for me.
What about other people?
Other people, yeah, like
Euclid. Do you believe that Euclid exists, or you're doubtful?
Yeah, we have been taught that he existed, that he did all those theories. We have been taught and we believed till that day. But after that, he changed our mind. As Raju said, up free our mind. So, yeah.
Means he how did he do that? I mean, just by telling you, or did he used any evidence?
Yeah, he used some evidence, and he proved it. Like you can have a look his book. He has a book, Mathematical Foundation.
Cultural Foundations of Mathematics.
Yes, Cultural Foundation of Mathematics, exactly. Like I looked through it. It's quite a big,
very big book.
Very big book, and we have it in our library in AU. Here we have one. So I looked through, and then yeah, it's quite tough. It's quite tough to understand all those materials without basic understanding. So he proved, like, from all sources he got information, and by formulas and all those things he proved. Yeah, he had evidence to convince us.
But now, do you feel that you people in Kyrgyzstan also have something to offer to science, or do you believe that science is only done by Westerners?
Yeah, after his course, like we, with my countrimate, we completed together this course, and after this course we decided to publish his book with his permission. It's Science of Western in origin. I want to really translate this book to my own language, to Russian language, maybe to other languages that I know, and of course we want to know people to know this truth about his, because it's quite tough job. Not everybody can take this big responsibility, because it's history. Like, we have been taught for 15 or maybe even more, like 15th century. It has been already set up, and now we are going to change. It's really tough job, I guess.
Yes, it's a very tough job, because it's not only you and me, but thousands of young people in schools and colleges told the same things over and over again, and our teachers and our professors, they also repeat the same things, and ultimately there is no choice for people but to believe that everything was come from the West, and the Westerners have done the science and we have done no science, and therefore they are superior, and we must always ask for their help.
Yeah, like I grew from in different environment, in Russian environment, in Kazakh, in Turkish environment, and like in Russian school, I really felt kind of discrimination. Like they were like superior than us. Like they were exposing themselves in that way. Yeah, they used to call in bad words sometimes. Yeah, we have faced lots of problems with Russians, and what do I want to say?
Yeah, and then afterwards with the other school, when you went to the Turkish school?
Turkish is actually Muslims. They are our like relative country, so it was okay.
Yeah, but they are very westernized.
Yeah, we are westernized, that's true.
After Ataturk, the
whole system was changed.
Forcibly westernized, including the script and so on.
Yes.
So there, I suppose even more people would believe that science is come from the West.
Yes, they believe. They believe in that.
What do you feel right now after this course? Would you think that this course is has only given you an opening, or do you like to pursue the things that you have learned in this course a little bit more besides translating his smaller books into? Do you feel that you want to pursue this as a career or something, or do you
yes.
think this is enough and he has given you enough?
We have been told like we will continue, like we didn't finish this course yet. Maybe next year for our next year 2, maybe we will continue. Like we shouldn't stop here, of course. As I told, I want to publish and translate some books as is Science is Western in origin, Euclid and Jesus and Euclid, or some.
Have you read the book, Euclid and Jesus?
We had kind of extract. We looked through that, but in Science of Western origin, yes, we had.
That was very small, so you can read the whole thing. Yes. There's another book about ending academic imperialism. Have you seen that book?
No.
Small. That's also very small.
Oh, I'm going to order. I'm going to order some books from him. Yes, I want to buy, and like we were planning, we will buy that books and we'll order them.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
1, 2. Because some composition is needed.
What's your name?
Muhammad Shawqi. Ahmad Zawqari from Yemen.
You're from Yemen?
Yes.
That's also in, that's somewhere in the
Middle East.
Yeah. And when have you come here to Al-Bukhari?
May 10th.
May 2010.
Yeah.
So
no, May 10th. 10th of May 2012.
2012.
1 year and 1 month.
You have completed C.K. Raju's course.
Yes, of course.
Why did you register for it?
Actually, I had a choice of 2 courses, and then I chose both of them. I went for both, and I measured, and I saw C.K. Raju's class is better in terms of knowledge and
what you were saying.
Yeah.
And what is your impact of doing the full course on your mind?
Actually, the impact was not only in one thing, it was in so many things in the human personality. Like, I cannot see there's one thing change in my life, like so many things change. My perspective, the way of thinking, even the way I see things right now is different. And if there was something to regret in AIU, it would have been missing the class of C.K. Raju's class.
Raju. What did he convey to you in respect of science? I mean, you are coming from Yemen, so you don't associate science and Yemen together. You only associate science with Greece or with Westerners. And
no, we do, because we believe that the Arab countries have had something in science. But though we believe that we did something, but the common knowledge was that European is doing the most of everything. That's why the course changed so many things in, when you change the very beginning of the idea, then the whole idea will change. Yeah.
But you must be coming, if suppose you were from Yemen, you would probably have seen these exhibitions put up by many of the Arab groups about the contributions of the Arabs and to the renaissance of science.
Yeah, of course.
There were many of them. So maybe many of these things were not new to you. The Arab contribution to science was not new to you.
It was not new to me, but I did not know that it was the beginning with Arabs themselves. Yeah, we knew, as I told you, we knew that we did so many things in science, but the problem is, was it the beginning from us or was it from them? So that's what it changed.
So that balance has shifted in your mind?
Yeah, sure.
Completely. Any specific thing that you remember from the course which made an impact on you?
Yeah, I can remember the first classes, first and second and third. And Prof. C.K. Raju was telling us, this course is not about teaching you what to do and what not to do, but it's about setting your mind free. And I was, how can he change our mind and how can he make us free? Were we slaves? Then one class after another, then I knew that actually we were somehow slaves.
That is whatever you had believed, whatever you had thought. Now tell me something, there's so much known about the Arab contribution to science. Is that reflected in even today in your school books, in whatever you are taught in Yemen, in high school, or in law, is that reflected, that history of the Arab contribution to science?
Yeah, of course. We studied like about one example, Ibn al-Haytham, for optics.
Yes.
We studied about him and what he did. We have Jabir bin Hayyan.
Yes.
The one who started the social science.
Yes.
And another one like the one who started the chemistry also. We studied so many things about these scientists.
So that is not there in our part. You see, when people in India are taught, they are not taught very seriously about the Arab contribution to science. So that's, in different countries there are different deficiencies.
And that's also happening in our countries because we don't study what Indians have contributed into science. That's what's happening.
It's only what the Arab contribution and what the Western contribution.
Yes, exactly.
And between the two, the Western contribution is highlighted because it is the one that we use today.
Yeah, actually.
And therefore it is thing. Yeah. What are the other things in the course that changed your mind? I mean, forget about whether the Arab did science and whether Western. What other things that you got through the course?
There is one thing I can easily test, like, and I can see it every day. Like these days, before this class, I wouldn't have gone for so many contradictions with my friends. Like we will not argue for so many things, but recently, like everything we can see in Facebook, in YouTube, there are so many things which my friend will just believe just in a moment. Like they will see the movie, oh, this is right. Like for me it was like that, but recently no, I see the video, I think and I try to check the video. If it's right, like it can go to the human mind. If I can believe it, then I'll go for it. If not, then I will just tell them this is a lie, a pure lie. And usually they will tell me, you think that you know everything. That's why we go to so many arguments.
What about Wikipedia? Do you rely now upon Wikipedia as a source of authentic news?
Actually, since the beginning, I don't believe, like I wasn't believing so much in Wikipedia, but we can get some knowledge, like the common knowledge which is none these days, as even in our countries. Like we can get some news about Islam, about some stuff which are even they're right, and I can check them in other sources.
Yes.
But there are some things which you cannot believe. Even myself, when I go to check like the Yemeni history or something about Yemen, I can find some wrong information, and when I check them, I have an account in Wikipedia, and I changed so many things, and rapidly they were sending me messages. You don't have reliable source. You don't have. I told them I am a primary source. I was in Yemen, and that's what we do, and that's what's happening. Then they say no. We need a secondary source. Yeah.
Their whole enterprise is built on secondary sources. So they distrust the primary source.
Yeah.
And they adopt the secondary source.
Yeah.
The secondary sources are all based on the primary source.
Yes.
But that is not acceptable to them.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My
pleasure. We can write
yes, that we can.
Different sections.
Sure.
Which show that how in the end the whole world thinks that the West is fine, but then there was an explosion of science earlier.